Ever since Geometry Dash came out in 2013, people have been pushing the game to the absolute limit. Whether it be beating the hardest level or creating the most creative level possible, players of this simple game have pushed it further than anyone else could believe, showing that the limits of Geometry Dash are almost endless. From the greatest creations ever to the hardest possible levels, we're going to take a look at the human limit of Geometry Dash. First off, I want to talk about the limits of level creation. From a normal person's standpoint, the Geometry Dash editor seems very bare bones with not much you can do with just standard blocks. But trust me, things can escalate very quickly once you look at any rated level. This is a level that I myself made with my friend Slopes using the 2.2 editor. It doesn't feature many new 2.2 things, but it gets the job done to the point where it earned a featured rating, which is just above a standard rate. But even in 2.1, there was a higher tier of a rating than a feature, an epic. These were the best seen in 2.1, but now that 2.2 is out, there are two new ratings that are in the game, and these are for levels that are above epic, which are rare. Legendary levels are usually very well constructed and feature good gameplay as well as above average decoration, but there's a reason they don't achieve mythic rating. That is saved for the absolute best levels this game has ever seen. Mythic levels feature insanely good gameplay and music representation with decoration that only the best can make. As of writing this script, only 14 levels have this prestigious rating, 6 classic levels and 8 platformers. Most of the classic levels that earn this rating are from the NCS Gauntlet contest, which was the first official contest of 2.2. There is one level which has gained a ton of popularity for its easy difficulty and crazy decoration though, and this level is Rage Quit. It features stunning visuals as well as simple gameplay, but it's just stereo madness with more decoration. But you may be asking, what about What by Sputniks, or Final Orbit, or Aperture? Well, What definitely has to be the craziest level of 2.1, with there being a 20-minute documentary of how Sputniks created it, and deservedly earning an epic rating, the highest at the time. It was made completely inside Geometry Dash, and even though Sputniks himself makes other programs to be able to make these levels, What was made completely inside of the Geometry Dash 2.1 editor. But what about Final Orbit, Bleez's Space Gauntlet entry? Well, the beginning movie, made by MSM12, looks completely realistic when you look at it. Absolutely stunning visuals all around, but what about the gameplay that follows the movie? Well, it's really fun and the decoration looks stunning still. Probably Bleez's best level, even over Rage Quit, but Final Orbit still isn't rated yet, and neither is Aperture, which is a masterpiece with lots of good gameplay and insane decoration and art throughout the level. But they're not rated yet, so can we consider them the best levels? Well, they were submitted for the Space Gauntlet contest, so I bet we can expect these levels to get a mythic rating soon. But for now, all we can do is sit here and speculate what the limit to Geometry Dash creation is. I doubt there is any, because the only limit is the creativity of those who try. But one thing we don't have to speculate is the human limit of the game's difficulty. Over the years, the difficulty of Geometry Dash's hardest levels have risen significantly. Before 2.2, there was only one mode of playing the game, that being an auto-scrolling platform, but even in 2.1, the hardest levels only got harder. At the beginning of 2.1, the hardest possible level was an extreme demon called Artificial Ascent, with the famous level Bloodbath still being the third hardest level at that point. But slowly, as the game has grown older, players have found a way to push the limits of the game entirely. Now, we're seeing tighter spaces and frame-perfect clicks being frequently used in the top levels. Right now, the current top 1 level Tidal Wave has over 200 frame-perfect clicks on 60 frames per second, including a frame-perfect on 120 frames per second. The current FPS limit supported by the game is 240, but there's a very controversial mod which can allow for the most precise movements possible. This mod is Click Between Frames, and it's pretty self-explanatory. It allows for inputs in between frames that you can see, allowing for higher click accuracy, but it sparked a major debate once it came out. Is it cheating? Is it not? Well, the Demon List allows the use of CBF, meaning that players can use it without their records being denied. This only pushes the skill cap further up, and now top players are using it to beat levels. Except for Nullscapes, because Kiba did, this. But what is the hardest level being verified? Well, there's plenty of upcoming top 1 demons, but the one that's actually finished is Ice Cave's Grief, a remake of the original Slaughterhouse. Top player Doggy is verifying it with CBF and he already has 80 on this beast of a level. He's definitely going to beat it soon with him streaming it often. But what about platformer levels? The platformer mode was introduced in Update 2.2 and in a year, there have been some extremely difficult platformer levels to come out. Of course, they have their own demon lists and currently topping it is Delightful Climb, but there's more to platformers than just beating them. Welcome to the world of speedrunning. Speedrunning is a common term for getting the fastest time possible in a game. Geometry Dash wasn't well known for its speedruns before 2.2 because the only real speedrun you could do was the main levels in the shortest time possible. But now, with a brand new platformer mode, speedrunning didn't just become a possibility, it became a reality. From day one of the update, achieving the fastest time possible became a heavy focus of the GD community, starting from the tower to the hardest possible levels out there. Achieving world records on levels stands as something that only the best can do, and finding strategies to minimize the time by milliseconds only pushes that further. The current world record for the tower stands at 6 minutes 41 seconds and 57 milliseconds set by NoVertex, which is just barely above Alex's run by a second. Beating the world record on the tower is no joke, and you can watch a documentary on the history of its speedruns on the first link in the description. But what about individual level speedruns? Well, the hardest platforms are way harder to beat than speedrunning, but sooner or later, we'll see faster times on the hardest levels there are. But that's not entirely it for platformers, because using third-party tools such as level bots, we see faster runs than humans can accomplish. These are called tool-assisted speedruns, or TAS for short. TAS shows off insane runs that no player can accomplish in a real run, such as this insane run on Convolution, one of the hardest platformer levels out there. Someday, we'll see human runs close to beating TAS, as many new strategies and techniques form. As we discuss the human limits of creation and difficulty, we see one thing. People are willing to push the limits as far as possible. At any given point, we can see a creative revolution or a new world record that can possibly never be beaten. Over 11 years of Geometry Dash, these levels have proven to be the most insane and difficult pieces of creative work in the game, but there's no doubt that these limits will be broken.